Good evening. Some stories are so familiar and are told so often that they wear away like old coins. They feel smooth in the palms of our hands, and their very age makes them seem true. But time can play tricks on us. That cherished sovereign, handed down from father to son, is nothing more than an old coin craftily plated by an artful jeweler. Or that tarnished farthing, thrown aside by the hasty, reveals, with a little rubbing, a heart of gold. Cinderella is just such a story. We all remember the crystal slippers and the handsome prince. But handsome is as handsome does, and all that glitters is not gold. Was the prince really as good as he was handsome? And did he and Cinderella live happily ever after?
Hello. Oh. Now that your majesty is a queen at last, how shall you reward me, your trusty servant, who stood by you in time of trouble?
Ah, yes, Buttons. Loyal, dependable, and even a little handsome. Inside of our royal gratitude, we shall bestow upon you half of the golden estates, a fine house in the city for you to entertain your friends, and 3 horses of your choosing from the royal stable.
Your majesty is most gracious.
These gifts please you well?
In truth, your majesty, I would trade them all for but one kiss from your royal lips.
Oh, Buttons, you're so sweet.
Oh, not that most terrible of words, your majesty. It pierces me to the heart with despair.
Oh, do it now, I haven't struck the floor yet. Cinderella! Just when are we to get our supper? Sorry, I was just really. What has happened to that good-for-nothing? He looks half dead.
I think you're right. This arrow, tipped with a poison of deadly sweetness.
Honestly, half the time I don't know what you're talking about. But I do know this. If you don't have that carriage completely repainted by the end of the week, you'll be out on the street without a penny. I'm the prince to catch.
You better shoot him in the leg first.
What did you say?
Buttons said that he should shake a leg fast if he's going to get the coach done in time, didn't you, Buttons?
Something like that.
And you had better do the same, or there will be hell to pay. Dinner in my room in 10 minutes. That should give me time to make myself beautiful.
It'll take a lot longer than 10 minutes.
I heard that.
Buttons, you really should be more careful. Griselda could fire you on the spot, you know.
I'm good footman's hard to find. Anyway, what do I care? I've got my savings. I don't have to balance straight to anyone. Except, of course, to you, your majesty.
Stop it.
All right. Just think of it. A palace ballroom lit with crystal chandeliers. Quiet rustle of silk dresses. Heavenly music of couples dancing. The men all tall and handsome. The women glittering with diamonds. Everyone laughing and drinking champagne. Wouldn't it be wonderful to go to the ball?
Oh, you know it would.
Then go.
Oh, but how can I? Dress alone cost a year's salary. And then there's the shoes and the gloves and it would all be ruined without a carriage to stop it from being splashed with mud.
There's always my savings.
Don't you dare even think of it. One day you'll find the right girl and then you'll need that money to buy a nice little cottage to be happy together. I would love to go to the ball more than anything, but not enough to hurt my best friend.
Well, don't despair. Sometimes miracles do happen. In fact, I knew just such a story about a princess and a frog.
I think I might have heard it.
Not this one, it's quite original.
Oh, all right, go on then. Don't take too long. Supper's nearly ready.
Well, I don't have to tell it if you're in too much of a hurry.
I'm sorry, Buttons. I will listen. Now, please.
Right. Once upon a time, there was a princess.
Was she beautiful?
Like an angel.
Oh.
Her radiance of goodness shone from her eyes, and she had golden hair.
But was she happy?
Sadly, no. In fact, she was very lonely. She had tutors and bodyguards and gardeners, but no friends her own age she could talk to. When she was feeling melancholy, she used to go down to the pond in the garden and talk to the frogs.
Were they handsome frogs?
No, they were green and slimy, they had warts all over their skin. But there was one particular frog who has beautiful, sympathetic eyes. He would sit and listen to the princess for hours as she told what the handsome prince of her dreams. She told the frog how he would be brave and modest, generous and rich, all of the impossible contradictory things that princesses look for in a lover.
Men do it too.
Yes, of course. But unfortunately for the frog, being green and slimy was not what the princess had in mind.
Poor thing.
Well, it was towards the beginning of autumn. The princess started to feel particularly sad. She'd had no visitors for the entire summer, beginning to feel that life was passing her by. Suddenly, an idea struck her. She had heard once that a princess could sometimes kiss a frog and turn him into a prince.
I've heard the same thing, mostly from lecherous toads.
Anyway, this idea made her look at the frog with renewed interest. He did have nice eyes, after all. And he listened to her every word, which was more than she could say to some of the people she knew. She wrinkled up her nose, bent down and kissed the frog on the forehead. She stepped back, full of anticipation, but nothing happened. The frog just looked a little sheepish, which was not the transformation the princess had hoped for. So she placed him on a lily pad and wandered away, feeling rather disappointed.
Well, is that the end of the story?
Not quite. Well, autumn was nearly at an end, and to forget his sorrows, the little frog curled up into a ball and went to sleep. When he awoke, it was the following spring. He rushed down to the pond to have a drink, and found, much to his surprise, that he had been transformed into a human being.
Was he handsome?
It didn't matter if he was freezing. He had to find some clothes and fast or he would die. So he made his way into the herb garden where the servants' clothes were hung up to dry. It took him about half an hour to work out how to put on a shirt, but finally he looked respectable, and he set off to find the princess. It was one of the bodyguards who arrested him.
Oh,
They brought him before the princess to explain himself. Luckily, the princess knew immediately who he was. Those eyes were unmistakable. As for the rest of him, he was a man, she had to confess, but the transformation had not been miraculous. She couldn't put her finger on it, but somehow, he just wasn't her type. The truth was that in the winter she had met a man who was very handsome, and he had won her heart. They were very polite to the man frog, and they entertained him for some days, but finally, against his heartfelt wishes, the frog had to say goodbye to the princess, and went off to find a new love somewhere else.
Buttons, that's horrible. How would you do that to that poor frog?
Well, there was a version of the story in which the other prince gradually turned into a frog, but the witnesses were unreliable, so I discounted it.
But I think it's a rotten story.
Why? The princess marries a prince, the frog becomes a man, and who's to say that he didn't find someone else who would make him very happy?
But it's a fairy tale. It's not supposed to end like that.
Very well. The prince ran away, the frog married the princess, and they all lived happily ever after.
Good. Now I can get on with supper.
To Messrs. Crimpin and Arbuthnot, purveyors of fine silks and dresses to the aristocracy, please find enclosed 50 gold pieces for the procurement of your finest ball gown, size 6, suitable for the deportment of a lady of quality. Please also include 1 pair of your finest crystal slippers to the value of 25 gold pieces. This amount to be paid for monthly over the next 2 years. They should be wrapped discreetly in unmarked boxes. Yours sincerely, Albert Buttons Trevelyan. P.S. It is imperative that these items arrive by this Saturday at the latest. Dear Cedric, thank you for your hasty response to my request for the loan of your master's coach on the night of the ball. I understand that the coach cannot be used beyond midnight for fear of discovery and your consequent dismissal. I will devise a suitable explanation for my friend, which will leave her none the wiser as to its true origin. Of course, this gracious act on your part erases all memories of a certain indiscretion in his lordship's carriage on a now unmentionable occasion. Your sincere friend, Buttons the Nose Trevelyan. Dear Sir, As proprietors, Cedric and Smythe, theatrical suppliers, by appointment to His Majesty the King, etc., etc., I wish for you to provide me with one ballerina costume, extra large, a brown wig, large, and a magic wand made of silver. I also wish to acquire 2 tubes of glittering dust to use to effect the appearance and disappearance of mythical, magical, and other such imaginary personages. Your devoted servant, Buttons, the stage Trevelyan.
Your Highness is too kind. Why, I would love to dance. I must warn you, though, I am a little out of practice. Oh, Your Highness dances like an angel. Or should I say a river sweeping me off my feet towards the horizon. No, don't say that. It sounds stupid. Oh. Your Highness is too kind. Balls can be so frightfully tedious without amusing company. In my father's house, of course, we have Hungarian gypsies to liven up the dull moments. With Hungarian troops and sword fights. One gets so bored the rest of the time. Oh, no, Cinderella, don't say that, he'll hate you. What do princes like? Smile a lot. Don't say too much. Swoon slightly at the end of the dance. He'll sweep you up into his arms and kiss you. Oh, Your Highness, we shouldn't. We've only just met. Is it proper? I am the prince. I defy you what is proper. No one would dare speak against the woman I would have as my wife. Oh, Your Highness, I dreamt of such a moment as this. Kiss me again. What are you doing? Highness, there's something in the mouth. I was wrong, sorry.
Where is that good-for-nothing Buttons? We need him to help with the coach.
He was taken ill. With pain fuse, lead poisoning. He said he can't move a muscle.
Oh, he can't he? Wait till I get my hands on him, you'll wish he'd never been born.
Frederick is here to drive the coach.
The disgrace of it! No footman to open the door.
The prince must have put him at the gate to welcome people.
That's no excuse. I want Buttons out of the street first thing Monday morning.
Have pity, Griselda. By that time, you might even be living in the palace. Any scandal might spoil your chances.
You are quite right, my dear.
Now tell us, what do you think of our dresses?
Aren't they simply ravishing?
Well, I've never seen anything quite like them.
Aren't they divine? She walks as beauteous as the night, with cloudless charms and starry eyes, and all that's best of rich and bright. Look to her bosom and her sides.
Well, it is a bit low cut.
Never mind about that. I want you to have this whole house spick and span by the time we get back. Princes can be most particular, you know.
Yes, Griselda.
Well, we must be off. Do have a good evening. Cleaning can be quite therapeutic, or so I'm led to believe.
Thank you, Priscilla.
Oh, now, don't go feeling sorry for yourself. Why, if you came along to the ball with us, you'd only get ideas about your station. We're just trying to save you from a lifetime of wishful thinking.
I see.
Come on, we should go. Such a sweet girl, but plain as a dishcloth.
Well, what do you expect from a foundling?
Why our father took her in is a mystery to me. Anyway, no time for that now. The prince will be needing someone to dance with. Yes, to the stars.
I must go now, Your Highness. My family misses me so much when I'm away. I don't know what they'd do without me. I don't have a fairy godmother. In fact, I don't have a mother at all. Just 2 stepsisters.
Well, you do now, so be quiet and listen.
You insist.
I do. Because of the kind reason a stomach should take the smile off her face. Well, young lady, would you like to explain exactly what you thought you were doing at the ball last night?
Oh, that.
Yes, that.
Well, I understood that everyone was invited, and I found this nice dress and thought it would be a shame to miss it.
Oh, you did you? Someone left the latest fashions just laying around so that any old scullery maid could go off to the ball.
Well, not exactly. A fairy godmother appeared in a dream and gave it to me.
A priceless dress and crystal slippers just appeared out of nowhere.
That's right. It was like a miracle.
Well, Miss Twinkletoes, you don't need to convince us. You can tell it to the judge.
You can tell the prince if you like. He just arrived.
The prince? Here? Now? This is terrible! My makeup! My bodice! You saw how I look!
Same as you always do.
Oh, not my match! This is a disaster!
Your Majesty.
I came looking for the girl in the crystal slippers. She left this behind. There was only one pair sold in the last 6 months, and they said to try here.
It was me, Your Majesty. I may look different in this light, but I am the woman you love.
I hardly think so. You can try it on if you like. Control yourself.
I brought this letters to the ball, Your Highness. It was most gracious of you to return it to me.
Why is an angel of beauty like you forced to do such menial work in these ugly surroundings?
It's to help my stepsisters, Your Highness. You see, they're much older than I am. Well, they don't have time to do such lonely work. Oh, if I'd known you were coming, I would have dusted the living room and had changed out of these rags. This kitchen is no place to receive a prince.
Any room which you are in becomes a palace in my eyes.
Oh, Your Highness is too kind.
But I will not allow this injustice to continue. Beauty like yours was meant for finer things. Come and live with me in the palace, where you can blossom into that rose which is clearly within you.
Oh, Your Highness is teasing me, I think.
I'm in deadly earnest.
Do you mean marriage, Your Highness?
It is in within your heart to love me.
Oh, how can I do anything else?
I shall wait for you in the carriage. I'm sure you'll want to say goodbye to your family. Ladies,
Goodbye, Drusilla. Try to be happy for me. Drop dead.
I give it 6 months. The prince will tire of you, and then he'll be begging for us to take you back.
Well, thank you for your concern, Drusilla. I will miss you too. Oh, Buttons, you were my favorite friend.
Be careful, Cinderella. The palace is a dangerous place.
I know, but I couldn't help myself.
Write to me then.
Oh, of course I will. Goodbye.
bye.
There we are. Good old Buttons. Not many princesses have such excellent education in how to pick locks. Of course, Rudolph, if you spent more time with me and less time drinking with your friends, I wouldn't have to do this. Well, what is so secret about you dusty old books? Revolutions and how to suppress them. Well, that can't be why it creeps in here late at night. What about this one? How to limit cards without exactly cheating. Useful, but hardly a great secret. Oh, this must be it. The Witty Prince by Raymond Nasarovich. advisor on etiquette to the Emperor of Austria. What every prince should say under any circumstances, seductions and denials, especially. Rudolph, how could you? Oh, you must have bought it as a joke. Let's have a look. Anecdotes for formal occasions. Oh, much too stuffy. How to avoid dancing with ugly women. Well, I'm sure he knows all about that. How to start a war when you really want one. Again, how to seduce servant girls in humble surroundings. Oh, well, that sounds interesting. When seducing women of the lower classes, a prince has a number of natural advantages. Wealth and prestige usually dazzle the ambitious girls, whilst the more conventional ones dream of marriage, a palace, and royal children. The greedy girls will part with their virtue for a few trinkets. A bracelet of diamonds will usually do the trick. On the other hand, the more home-loving women will present more of a challenge. What a strange book! You were meant for better things, is always a solid approach. Hint at your great wealth and suggest that she can be free of her ugly surroundings by simply casting off her inhibitions. Remember, you are a prince. The everyday to you is magical to her. Any room that you are in becomes a palace to me. Should help to melt her resolve. Follow it up quickly with an enveloping kiss to sweep her off her feet. Knock her slightly off balance so that she has to trust you both physically and emotionally. Stare into her eyes to maintain the giddying effect, and then kiss her again with a touching mixture of fervor and tenderness. Well, he suddenly knows how to do that anyway. Oh, Rudolph, how could you be such a monster?
Darling!
Go away!
Oh, darling, that's not quite right. See, I say darling, you say yes, darling. We kiss, we eat dinner, we flirt a little over dessert. Ah, you resist me, I beseech your honor a bit more, you crumble, and then we all live happily ever after.
I know. I read the book.
What book?
This book.
Ah, that book. Well, I do hope you didn't read it all cover to cover. See, it's the sort of book that you dip into when you have a speech to write.
Or a girl from the lower classes to seduce.
Ah, well, you read that bit.
Every room you are in becomes a palace to me.
Did it say that?
No, it did.
What a shame. I knew it wasn't original, but I couldn't quite remember where it came from.
Well, if you think I'm going to marry a prince who can't even write his own love letters, you are very much mistaken.
Oh, but darling, I must marry you.
Why? I'm not that beautiful, you know.
When I look into your eyes, I'm swept away by a wave of emotion which breaks over me and
It's in the same chapter, Rudolph.
Yes, it is. But I do love you. Why else would I want to marry you?
I really can't imagine. It can't be for my money. I haven't got any.
Darling, don't talk like that. It's so squalid to talk about money. Look, I'm sorry I wooed you with other men's words. It was wrong of me. Perhaps I've been surrounded by flatterers for so long that I've forgotten how to be sincere. Oh, but I love you. I know it's been said a million times before, but that doesn't mean it isn't true. My heart does melt when I look at you. You are the woman I want to be the mother of my children.
Really?
Really? I'd marry you tomorrow if you'd have me.
I can't. I made a promise.
To your fairy godmother, I know. But I am what you want, aren't I? Oh, I love you. I'll take care of you. Have a nice job, a good house. What more can I do to convince you?
You could kiss me, as a friend would, without trying to sweep me off my feet.
As a friend, but more than a friend.
Yes,
Being a prince, I'm so charming. The girls find my smile quite disarming. They melt at my kiss, and that leads to this. My success rate is almost alarming. Being a prince, I'm so rich. I love diamonds and rubies and glitz. The crowns are all grumbling, the palace is crumbling. So I dine with my friends at the Ritz. Being a prince is the thing, with maidens galore in the spring. I eat ambrosia and honey bought with other men's money, and then when it's over, I'm king.
Darling, what are you thinking about?
Oh, it's just a poem, darling. Oh, but I shouldn't tell it to you. You might think I'm getting too romantic.
I'm sorry, Rudolph. Sometimes I don't know what's good for me.
Can I sweep you off your feet then?
Oh, you already have. Dear Buttons, sorry that I haven't written to you in so long. I'm so unhappy. I don't know why. I really love Rudolph. He's handsome and witty, and he claims that he loves me too. He's telling me that he wants to marry me. He goes off drinking with his friends for hours and hours. Why would he say that if it wasn't true? I'm so confused. Write to me soon and tell me all your news. Your devoted friend, Cinderella.
Ah, there you are. Oh, keeping in touch with your old servant friends, I imagine.
Your Majesty.
Yes, enough of that. Now do get up and sit over here. I want a word with you.
Is it something that I've done, Your Majesty?
More a matter of something that you haven't done.
Well, what do you mean?
Rudolph tells me that you still refuse to marry him.
I don't refuse, Your Majesty. I merely asked you to wait until we know each other a little better. You see, I promised...
Your fairy godmother, I know. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Stories like that may go down well with the chambermaid, but please do not insult my intelligence. Maybe the palace isn't your liking.
No, it's very nice.
Really? Can't stand the place myself. Too many paintings of dead people. Most of them ugly, all of them relatives. The king got terribly upset when I tried throwing them away.
It's not a palace, Your Majesty.
Oh, fair enough, just asking. Maybe it's another man? This Button sounds rather intriguing. Handsome brute, is he?
Buttons is just a friend. How dare you try to ruin my reputation with the prince?
Don't misunderstand me. After you are married, you can have as many affairs as you like. But do get on with it. Rudolph is getting impatient.
I am not, and have never had an affair with anyone. How dare you suggest such a thing?
Then why not marry him?
Because he doesn't love me. Is that all?
Oh, you really are an old-fashioned girl. Don't worry about Rudolph. He loves you well enough. He just isn't very good at showing it.
Are you sure?
Oh, yes. He talks about you all the time. How beautiful and sweet you are. How you never want any presents, just to spend time with him. Why, he even named his favorite horse after you.
And that's a good sign?
Oh, it certainly is. He spends much more money on horses than he does on women.
What do you mean?
Oh, never mind. Anyway, he loves you. You love him. So you can get married next Sunday, and then afterwards you can both live happily ever after.
Are you sure?
Oh, take my word for it. After all, he is what you want, isn't he?
I suppose so.
Good. I'll make the arrangements. Remember, next Sunday from 2 till 6. Don't forget now. Don't forget now.
As if I would. Oh, Buttons. Oh, Buttons, am I doing the right thing?
Dear Cinderella, at the time you read this, it will be your wedding day. I can't pretend that I didn't once hope that you would be my wife. I couldn't have made you a princess, but I would have treated you like one. Thank you for sending me an invitation. Please understand why it is that I won't be able to attend. I really can't afford the expensive clothes that you'll be used to by now in the palace. I would stand out horribly from your new friends.
Oh, Buttons, I wouldn't mind you.
And I don't want to hold you back from your new life. Be happy, Cinderella. Your devoted friend, Buttons.
You don't know me. I'm Esmeralda, Prince Rudolph's nanny when he was young.
Oh, please come in.
Thank you.
Oh,
I understand you have a few concerns about marrying him.
oh, I was just being silly. That's over now. I'm getting married today. Oh, of course you must know that.
Yes, of course. That's why I'm here. To tell you a few things that will help you understand your new husband.
Oh, go on.
If I might have a seat. These old joints aren't as supple as they used to be.
I'm terribly sorry. Please do have a seat. Oh, can I get you a cushion?
No, this is quite satisfactory. Now, where was I?
Telling you about Rudolph.
Rudolph, yes. Quite a lively little boy. Always breaking things, drawing on the walls. Quite a little bundle of energy he was. He loved horses, you know.
Apparently he still does.
Yes, he's a bit rough with them, but they respect him for it. Now, boy, I'm glad to hear it. Of course you know about the tragedy.
What tragedy?
Oh, why, if it hadn't been for the tragedy, you wouldn't be sitting here today.
Well, what do you mean?
Once upon a time, this country was ruled over by two ancient families. They've been feuding for generations until finally the people became sick of the bloodshed and demanded that the two principalities be joined together into one kingdom. Luckily, one family had an only son, and the other an only daughter. It seemed like a match made in heaven. Rudolph and Anne-Marie were betrothed on Rudolph's second birthday. Contract was signed, joining the two families forever. But then, tragedy struck. Anne-Marie's father died quite suddenly, and the little girl disappeared. Wicked rumors circulated that Queen Alexandra had something to do with it. But, whatever the truth of the matter, Anne-Marie's mother withdrew from public life.
How terrible. Well, what became of the little girl?
Oh, the king sent out his men and searched far and wide, but they didn't have much to go on. A pretty baby girl, just 2 years old, with a birthmark on her left shoulder.
Well, marks like that are very common. I mean, even I have one of those.
Yes, quite so. Common as a dishcloth. But the remarkable thing is, my dear, you do bear a striking resemblance to Anne-Marie's mother. In fact, I overheard the king saying as much to Queen Alexandra on the night of the big dance here. She told him he was a sentimental old fool and stormed off in a rage to pester her son.
You don't remind me, do you?
Really, dear? What does it matter? And soon after that, the prince noticed you himself. The rest, as they say, is history. Or it soon will be.
So that's why he wants to marry me, to safeguard his inheritance.
I do hope I haven't said anything out of turn.
No, Esmeralda, it's most enlightening. Now tell me, how did the other king die?
Oh, with a sudden pain at dinner. Some people thought it was due to poisoned wine. But a very reliable doctor assured King Henry that...
I do hope I'm not interrupting Cinderella, but shouldn't you be getting married today? The queen is turning the palace upside down looking for you.
Well, Your Majesty, it seems that my name is Cinderella after all.
Oh? Who are you then?
Princess Anne-Marie.
I rather thought you might be.
Well, then why didn't you
did something about that. Such a lovely woman when I married her. But people change. That was why I had to squirrel you out of harm's way. Then we lost the address. Oh, most unfortunate.
You!
Well, yes. People blame the Queen. It's rather funny, really, with the few crimes she didn't commit. But she would have tried to kill you eventually.
So why didn't you punish her?
Well, the country was just coming out of the Civil War. The thought of another one was too terrifying. And now seems like an opportune moment to strike. You are sure you don't want to marry Rudolph?
Oh, quite sure.
So much for that.
So what are you going to do?
Banish the Queen on a charge of murder.
After all these years?
Well, why not? Do you know she even tried to throw away all my lovely paintings?
But what about Rudolph?
Madam, I don't think you've had the pleasure.
King Henry, nurse Cinderella.
Charmed, I'm sure.
So, what will happen to Rudolph?
Well, he takes far too much interest in his appearance for my taste. He can muck up the stables for a year.
Oh.
That should not be polish off him.
Well, he does on horses.
Exactly. Well, now if you'll excuse me, I've got a lot to do. Oh, by the way, you get half the kingdom map. It's in the contract. Fair is fair and all.
Oh, thank you. Very much. Oh! Esmeralda,
Yes, my dear.
don't you think it was odd that the king didn't recognize you?
Not really. He has a lot on his mind.
But to not recognize a woman who brought up his son for 20 years?
Perhaps it is a little strange.
Oh, come on. But it's you, isn't it?
All right, I confess.
So why didn't you say something?
I don't know. Maybe I thought this bad news coming from someone else would seem more convincing.
But I trust you.
I know, but I thought you would think I was being petty and jealous.
Well, why?
What?
Jealous, I mean.
A little.
Then you do love me.
I used to.
And now,
I've been trying not to love you for so long.
you've given up.
No, I don't mean that.
Oh.
You don't love me anyway. You love Rudolph.
But who, other than you, would dress up as a fairy so that I could go to the ball with someone else?
Oh, that. Oh, I didn't think you'd take my gifts unless I made them magic.
And in your letter, you said that you hoped I would be your wife.
How would you like this, Cinderella? You can't say that you want to be just my friend for 2 years, and then suddenly turn around and say you want to marry me.
Well, why not?
Well, it isn't fair. Besides, we never even kissed each other.
Well, that's easily fixed. There.
I could get used to it, I suppose.
Then you still love me.
Of course.
And you want to marry me?
I always have.
Well, there is a rather nice wedding planned for the day. Mind you, they seem to be short of the bridegroom. Why not? You are forgetting I am queen of half the kingdom.
Scandal would be terrible.
So what? We deserve it. After all, it seems a shame to let all that cheering go to waste.
You're a mad woman, Anne-Marie.
Can you keep a secret?
Anything.
You know that mark on my shoulder?
Yes, of course.
I was told I got it from a hot stove when I was 3.
So you're not Anne-Marie?
The king is so sure that I am, and I so hated to disappoint him. So, Menlo Buttons, will you accompany me to the prince's chamber where you can dress for the wedding?
Can't I get married dressed like this?
And the scandal would be appalling.
Tell me something, Cinderella. Will we live happily ever after?
Of course, I command it to be so.
Well, your majesty, might I have ever get changed?
Now that I work in a stable, to find a girl I'm unable. My friends have all vanished. My mother is banished. I can't even dine at the table. The palms of my hands are all hardened. Oh, but that in a year I'll be pardoned. I'll fill up the palace with vengeance and malice. Cinderella will be all unbuttoned. When the king dies, the crown comes to me. I'll take on my new role with glee. The queen will return, and cinders will squirm. It all happens next in Act 3.
It is I.
I had no idea, Your Majesty. Please forgive my rudeness.
You are excused. Now get out of the way. Let me in.
The footman would normally answer the door, but he's not a young man, you see. He sleeps so soundly, but he's the best we could find. Frederick! Frederick!
Be quiet. It may have escaped your notice, but I was banished upon pain of death. I hardly think waking the servants is such a good idea.
Well, I thought with Rudolph finishing his punishment that you would be free to return.
Oh no, the king was quite adamant about that. Banished for life.
And surely it is dangerous for you to be here.
How perceptive of you.
Then why have you come?
Because being in exile was driving me mad. Imagine spending an entire year with my relatives. They used to talk about me in hushed whispers.
Yes, that's the one. Always was too big for her britches, if you ask me.
Well, I'll show them.
I'm sorry, Your Majesty, but I don't quite understand.
My banishment was for life, by proclamation of the king. Well, life cuts both ways. Either my life or his. Once my son is on the throne, I shall return in triumph. Then people can laugh at me, if they dare.
But I don't quite see what you mean. The king is in excellent health.
Well, then we may just have to do something about that.
But, Your Majesty, that would be treason.
I've done worse in my time. A little poison here, a little dagger there. It all helps the ship of state to sail more smoothly in a sea of troubles.
But to kill your own husband would be horrible.
Don't talk nonsense.
And you would never get near it without being arrested.
That is where you come in.
Me, Your Majesty? What have I got to do with it?
You are going to poison my husband for me.
Why should I? I have no grievance against the king.
Well, for one thing, you gave away half the kingdom to that spoiled brat of a sister of yours.
Hardly a reason for murder, surely.
And for another, it would make me very happy. And if I were very happy, my son might be very grateful.
Go on.
I promise that if you help me kill the king, my son will marry you as a reward. Hail Queen Griselda. How does that sound?
What makes you think he would marry me?
He is my son, after all. He knows better than to cross me.
This is a lot to think about.
You must decide now. Here is the poison. Slipped into red wine, just quite undetectable. There is no risk to you. And my son and I will be in your debt.
What about Cinderella?
Poison her too? No, I've thought of it. She and that damned Buttons are too popular. No, a nasty revelation followed by a public trial should do the trick. She isn't Princess Anne-Marie. Any fool can see that. The senile ravings of a demented king shortly before his death. Once she's been exposed as a fraud, we can have a nice little execution. Decapitation is my preference, but I leave the final choice up to you.
You've thought of everything.
So will you do it?
I don't see how you can do anything else. Your Majesty's displeasure so often proves fatal.
Excellent. Then we understand each other. Now I must go. before I am discovered.
I don't see why you have to go to work today. It's our anniversary.
I know, darling, but it's also harvest time. You know what scoundrels the prince appointed to collect the taxes. If I don't go soon, he'll be cheated out of half their income.
I don't care. I'm rich enough already. I just want to spend time with you.
Sorry.
What about me? I only ever see you when you're worn out. What happened to the stories you used to tell me?
I still do, sometimes.
All right. What was the last one about?
It was the one about the giant who choked to death on the dwarf.
That was months ago.
Right. What about last week? I told you about the miner who put a boy at the bottom of a well to pull on a plumb line. He made the people think he dug a deeper well than he had. Overcharged the villagers 2 gold pieces.
Don't you see? The old Buttons would have thought it the most boring story you ever heard. No romance, no intrigue. All this talk of money is so dull.
But it is exciting. Don't you see? For the first time, I feel that I can actually help people instead of just making fun of their misfortune.
Well, I do good things too.
Of course you do.
And my reward is a palace full of people I don't trust and a husband who's never home.
I will be home, I promise. Right now, I really must go. Farmer's been up for hours already.
How to start a war when you really want one.
I do hope I'm not disturbing you.
Oh, it's you. What are you doing in the palace? Shouldn't you be
In the stable? Well, yes and no. It's been a year since my disgrace. My father has now relented. I'm once again a prince.
So, why aren't you out of town celebrating with your friends?
They proved not to be such good friends when I was in trouble.
Well, maybe you have done something after all.
I hope so. I did have a lot of time to think. All those nights on end with nothing to do made me realize what a fool I'd been. I had happiness in the palms of my hands, and I threw it away.
Well, you're a prince again now, so you can make the most of it.
This is what I mean. True happiness is only found in the arms of someone who loves you.
Well, judging from your reputation, you should be the happiest man in the world.
Cinderella, this year seems to have hardened you.
Perhaps.
What is it like being married?
Why do you ask?
Oh, I just wondered, in case someday I should ever tie the knot.
Marriage is very nice. Buttons is Prince Albert is a wonderful person. He cares about the poor and the farmers, and he tries to help the old people and the sick. In fact, he loves everybody.
Which doesn't leave much time for you.
I wouldn't say that. It's just that first magic can't last forever.
I thought of you every day.
What?
Every night before I went to sleep, I dreamt of the times that we'd spent together. Exquisite times. Erotic times.
Please, I am a married woman.
Don't you think I know that? When you loved me, I was a fool. I had the confidence of an idiot. Why didn't everyone love me? I was a prince. Now I know that you were the only one who really cared. Everyone else would have married me straight away. But you only wanted my title. You could also have my heart.
Well, I've grown up a lot since then.
But don't you still feel some of the same feelings? A fire like that can never completely die.
It was a long time ago.
But tell me that you still feel something. Say that my year of suffering wasn't completely wasted.
Something. Yes, of course, but it was a long time ago, Rudolph, and it's over. I married Buttons, and he loves me. And I love him.
Just one kiss.
No.
Just one kiss. Not as a lover, but as an admirer. You see, I still love you, even after you've forgotten me.
I had no idea.
So you'll forgive me
For what?
for this?
You were right, darling. We should spend more time together. All right. Hope you'll be very happy.
How could you have done that?
Oh, I just wanted to see if the old charm still works. You always wear a soft touch.
How could I have just stood there and let you kiss me like that?
I'd run after him if I were you. These ex-women can be very old-fashioned about adultery.
I will get you for this, Rudolph.
None of my mother has anything to do with it. Well, it must be time for another limerick. Now that I'm king of the castle, all the girls' dresses will rustle. The girls will excuse me, their beaux will want me. And there's something ending in tussle or muscle. Oh, I don't know. I'll have to work on it.
You'll do nothing of the kind.
Mother! Mwah, mwah. I trust I find you in good health.
Excellent, thank you. Your father, on the other hand, has been taken ill. Griselda invited him to dinner last night, and he seems to have eaten something that disagreed with him.
Nothing temporary, I hope.
The royal physician assures me he will not outlast the day.
Is he sure?
He has always proved most reliable in the past. This physician is a man who takes great pains never to be wrong in a diagnosis, especially a pessimistic one of such national importance. His zeal is most commendable.
And his fee, no doubt, will cost me half a kingdom.
Stop whining, Rudolph. It's time you were a man and took what belongs to you with both hands.
Right.
Well, get on with it then.
What do you want me to do?
Arrest Cinderella, of course.
Don't you think we should take our time? I mean, she is queen of half the kingdom.
By an amazing coincidence, our half of the kingdom has all the weapons. I'd like to see them try something, then the blood would flow. Just announce that new evidence has come to light that Cinderella is an imposter. 2 years ago, she murdered Princess Anne-Marie and took her place.
I didn't know that.
I have an idiot for a son.
Oh! Sorry, I wasn't thinking.
Anything else?
There was one thing. You know when you promised Griselda that I would marry her if she helped out? I mean, she's awfully tall. I mean, do I have to? Couldn't we just pay her off or something?
Certainly not. After the trial, we must kill both her and Cinderella.
Oh, you really are the best mother of prince ever had.
Oh, I don't know why I bother. One careless mind with the footman, and I spend a lifetime marching up after you.
What do you mean?
Oh, never mind. Now, get on with carving out your destiny.
I want to speak to the king.
Oh, I'm sorry, miss. I'm under strict orders not to let you see anyone.
I am queen of half the kingdom. Who has the authority to arrest me?
Well, miss, I mean your majesty. Now, seeing as it's you, I guess I can let you in on a few little secrets. But don't tell anyone now or I'm done for.
It's very kind of you. Thank you.
Well, miss, now, the way I see it is this. King Henry's on his deathbed. Prince Rudolph and his mum are off for taking over. Now, before the body's cold, as it were. Well, it seems that you've been telling some fibs about being Anne-Marie. That's a shame, miss, because we all liked you. But royalty is royalty now, and it's not to be messed with. Once the Queen proves her case against you, there'll be an execution. That's that.
What about Buttons?
Oh, Prince Albert, you mean? Yeah, it's a bit of a shame about him, too. It's a conspiracy or something. I didn't quite understand all that legal stuff, but he's for the chop too. Sure is falling off a log.
When was he captured?
Well, now that's the rum thing, Mom. He stormed off this morning and said he was going to drown a frog. And nobody knew what he was talking about. And that's the last anybody's seen of it.
Poor Buttons. I hope he did run away. He'd be better off without me.
Oh, now chin up, miss. You know, my wife, she thinks you're great. You're not stuck up like the others, huh? And you told that Prince Rudolph where to go and he wanted to marry you.
Did I ever meet her? Your wife, I mean?
No, not really, miss. She only does the washing. She's a big woman, she is.
Freckles and red hair?
That's right. Carrot Top Mary, they call her.
I wish we'd been friends. She always seems so cheerful.
It's a bit late now for that, I'm afraid, miss.
Oh well. How many days do I have before I'm put on trial?
1 or 2, I should think. They'll probably wait for the king to snuff it first.
Death always seems so ordinary if you talk about it like that.
Well, never mind me, miss. You see, I was in the Civil War. Now, too much killing hardens a man. I can't say I like what's going on in the palace, but it isn't worth fighting another war over.
So I have to die.
Afraid so.
Let's change the subject. How did you meet your wife?
Oh, you don't want to hear about that, miss.
No, I do really. I do.
Well, miss, I was coming back from the Civil War. You see, my leg was all bandaged up. I needed some baggy trousers. Who's there?
I'm here to give the prisoner execution rehearsal.
But I haven't even had a trial yet.
Oh, I shouldn't worry about a little thing like that, miss. Concentrate on the main event, that's what I always say. I mean, you've got a lot to think about. What to wear, how to stick out your neck, all very complicated. And it's not as if we can mess it up and have another go at it now, can we? So, if you wouldn't mind just leaving, we can get on with it.
Now, this isn't regulations. What makes you think you can come in here and throw your weight around?
The orders are straight from the Queen. Talk to the little bitch, she tells me. Explain how death can either be quick or lingering. Show her how if she makes a fuss at the trial, things can really get nasty. I'll say I like that bit. I mean, a professional axeman such as myself takes great pride in his work. Been in my family for generations. We cuts it clean, that's all, Montel.
Well, I don't care who you are. I'm not letting you gonna hurt the prisoner.
Any objections can be taken straight to the Queen.
I think I'll do that right now.
Buzz off then.
Excuse me, miss. Now, if he tries to do anything to you, I'm going to get him for it. Honest, I will.
Oh, don't worry. They wouldn't cheat themselves out of the satisfaction of killing me in public.
Well, if you're sure, miss, I'll leave. But under protest.
Good riddance. Now, get all the formalities out of the way. What should I call you?
Your Majesty should suffice.
Well, Your Majesty, there's a lot to an execution.
We've been through all that. Just tell me what I have to do.
What are you going to wear?
I don't know. This, I suppose.
Oh, dearie me, no. Neckline's much too high. You want something cut low in the front and low in the back, otherwise it gets really messy.
This bit does come off.
Oh, so it does. Most ingenious. These tailors think of everything.
Not execution, surely.
Now, what about your hair?
Oh, off to the side like this, I suppose.
That's the spirit. Slender neck, but sinewy. Could cause a bit of a problem.
Well, if it's going to cause too much trouble, we could just cancel the whole thing.
Sorry, miss. Queen was most particular. Now, an important part of any severance, as we like to call it, is the angle of the neck to the block. Now, if you wouldn't mind just kneeling down.
Do I have to?
Well, we'll make our jobs just that little bit easier, man.
Very well. Like this?
That's right, perfect. Arch the neck a bit higher. That's it. Now you give the signal, the blade comes down, and it's all over in a jiffy.
It doesn't have to be an axe. I mean, they're so heavy and blunt.
Oh, well, you know the axe is owned to perfection. But it's true, they can be a bit unwieldy. It's traditional, that's all. The French prefer to use a sword. Takes more skill, but leaves a cleaner cut. In the court of the Sultan of Tangiers, the executioner applies a sucking action to the nape of the neck. It causes a slight tingling sensation, but otherwise it's quite painless. I'm not very good at it myself, but this should give you the idea.
So Stop it! Let me go! I'm a married woman!
I heard your husband left you, found you in bed with the man you love.
We weren't in bed and I don't love him! Now let me go! Buttons were here, he killed
If
me!
he loved you so much, he wouldn't have run away now, would he?
Stop it! Let me go! Stop it, it tickles! Oh, come on, Buttons, I'm getting dizzy!
How long have you known it was me?
Well, you do talk a lot for an executioner. Usually they just run to it and chop people's heads off. And anyway, there isn't a Sultan of Tangiers, and even if there was, he wouldn't kiss people to death.
Stop you from being bored, though.
Oh, it is good to see you. Oh, we better hurry, the party for any minute.
I shouldn't worry about that, if I were
Why
you.
not?
Trust me.
Aha! Just as I thought, the fool couldn't keep away. Gone. Arrest him.
Sorry, you were right. Give me those.
Now that I have you both, no one will dare to rebel.
What will you do to him?
Something slow and horrible if I have anything to do with it.
What about Cinderella?
Well, since a rebellion is out of the question, a trial seems hardly necessary. God,
Run her through with your sword.
Oh, I'm afraid I can't do that, Your Majesty. Now, no executions without a trial. That's the law.
I'm the law now.
With respect, Your Highness, the king is still breathing. He is the law, and he says no death without a trial.
I trust you have no objections if my son does it.
It's murder if he does. But it's treason if I try to stop him.
I told you we shouldn't educate these people, Mother. Teach them to read and they stop doing what you tell them.
Oh, just get on with it. I haven't got all day.
So, Cinderella, do you have any last requests?
Since my life is nearly at an end, I would just like to kiss the only man I ever loved.
Well, good of you to be so sporting about it.
Come here, Rudolph. Oh, Rudolph. Oh, there! Now I can die out.
God! My last card!
Oh, what a charge, Your Majesty!
Assaulting a royal personage!
In my opinion, Your Majesty, he was rather asking for it. I'll have you flogged for this, you rogue!
What is going on here?
Father, you're alive!
You thought your mother's poison would finish me off. Well, in fact, I did have a little indigestion from Griselda's cooking, but nothing fatal, I assure you. God, arrest Prince Rudolph and Queen Alexandra on a charge of high treason.
A pleasure, Your Majesty.
On what evidence?
On my evidence. You who gave me this poison to put in the king's wine. You told me I could marry the prince if I went along with it.
So why didn't you?
I may be a bad sister, Cinderella, but I am a loyal and I might even say devoted subject. Also, a woman who would kill her own husband is somewhat apt to forget her promises.
What about the doctor?
Oh, shut up, you fool!
Ah, yes. Well, excuse me, my dear. When I explained to our good physician that my death would be immediately followed by his own, he suddenly became much more optimistic about my condition.
Why did you wait this long before coming in?
Well, it's not often a king gets to see how his son will behave after his death.
What did you think, Papa?
You are the most spoiled child I've ever known. You are lazy and arrogant, and you spend money as if there's no tomorrow. You have precious little regard for the law, and you seem to have an insatiable appetite for cruelty and revenge.
Well, it was only my first day.
Enough! When you were born, I did your mother the kindness of overlooking the fact that I was away at the war when you were conceived.
I don't understand.
Eccentric was his name, I think. Very handsome, I understand, but found cleaning out the stables a bit too much of an intellectual challenge.
You don't mean... Mother! How could you? With a stable boy?
Well,
good father to you. I thought the right education might make any man fit to be a king, but your conduct today has finally shown me the error of my ways. I now disown you as my successor, and I appoint Prince Albert Buttons Trevelyan as legal heir to both halves of the kingdom. At least he'll take the job seriously.
But Henry, what fate do you have in store for me?
You will stand trial for attempted murder and for defying an order of banishment. If you are found guilty, I will let Cinderella decide whether to commute your sentence to life imprisonment. As for our marriage, as head of the church, I now declare it null and void. Consider it divorce. God, take it away.
Your Majesty. Come on, you. And you too. Let's go.
Mother, tell her not to talk to me like that. It isn't right. Will you stop whimpering?
Did you know this was going on?
I did have some ideas, yes.
What can you tell me?
There wasn't time.
Oh,
Anyway, don't you have a few apologies to make?
Yes. Your Majesty, I'm sorry that I lied to you about being with Princess Anne Marie. I was angry with Rudolph at the time, but it wasn't right of me to take it out on you. And also, I'm sorry that I misjudged you, Griselda. I know that you could never harm anyone, especially a member of the royal family.
Oh, that's all right. The king and I are getting along frightfully well at the moment. There may even be wedding bells in the air.
Come along, Griselda.
Such a commanding voice. Anyway, I must dash. See you later.
Well, it's great being heir to the throne and everything, but I just wish someone would untie me.
Well, I'm not the like you the way you are.
Come on, sisters, don't get tired.
I think a little practice execution is in order.
Anything but that.
I heard that in the court of the Emperor of China, they use a poisoned feather dragged slowly across the body. Apparently the victim had lost the days.
You wouldn't.
Why not?
Because well, then I couldn't tell you the story about the mermaid who fell in love with the dragon.
Well, in that case, I postpone the execution. The story had better be good.
It is. Let's see. Once upon a time, there was a bright purple dragon who lived in a cave by the ocean.
No, not yours. You can tell it to me in French.
But what about them?
Oh, they've heard enough stories for one day.
come on.
I'll be up in a minute.
Don't be long.
I won't. It is said that a bad king may use treachery and cunning to stay in power and outlive his enemies. A bad play, on the other hand, dies at the hands of the people within a few hours. Our story was conjured up for your pleasure. It is your wishes which will decide its fate. As the lights fade, the ravens of criticism will descend to pick through the bones of recollection. Perhaps you will watch them in silence. But if we have charmed your heart a little, shown you the perils of love and handsome princes, just clap your hands together. The noise you make may frighten away those ravens and leave Cinderella and Buttons to live on happily ever after.